He's just had a corner. But yeah, Heselden is leading the race at the moment. James Hulkenberg is now in second. Casely's in fourth. So I'm guessing something has happened to Caseley there. You're a little bit quiet, Gavin. I don't know if you need to put the microphone a little close to your mouth or just speak up a little bit. But yeah, so Sudden is now leading. James Hulkenberg is in second place, but here's got GBM Beardy trying to overtake him. Caseley's in fourth, Richie Davies now fifth, Live Bryce sixth, Neotic seventh, Dave the Harps in at 10th, and Joy Finn has retired. I think the leading battle, let's see, that's Hulkenberg, Beardy, yeah, Jason, he's just been passed by Richie Davey. I think that's Jason a lap down. Yeah, so Jason a lap down has just been overtaken by Richie Davey. But again, to the viewers, apologies there. Don't know what happened. Just had an error message pop up saying the broadcast has stopped. So YouTube trying to annoy me today. In that little off period, the only real story is that Caseley has gone from second place down to fourth, and GBM Beardy is all over the back now of James Hulkenberg, battling for second place.
Just having a look at the live timings here. Heselden, 11 seconds ahead of Hulkenberg. 3/10 back to Beardy from Hulkenberg, and then 4 seconds from Beardy to Richie Davey.
So Caseley's fallen another position. I wonder if Caseley's got a problem, or whether in these now changeable conditions, as Beardy trying to round the outside of Redgate.
It's a fantastic move.
Oh, they're going to be side by side now down the hill.
That's a great move, that.
That is a great move. That takes guts. It takes balls. It also takes plenty of grip. And he is obviously got all three of those. So that's put...
certainly not shy.
Definitely not. So that's put Hulkenberg down to third place.
Neotic in the pits.
And he's now leaving the pits. Oh, Andy Russell, he's struggling a little bit. And see Jason in ninth. Dave the Harp's going to be disappointed running 10th at the moment. I tell you what, the sun is coming out a little bit more.
I'm for second.
Yeah, I'm wondering if any of the drivers are going to be thinking... Well, they can't be thinking about slick tyres. Looking at the amount of spray coming off of these cars, even though the sun's coming out, they can't put dry tyres on yet.
Beardy seems to be taking the gap down to Heselden.
Well, GBM Beardy, sort of one of the sort of reserve drivers for this league, so he's kind of got nothing to lose, so he can afford to just go out there and absolutely thrash their car, and it almost looks like that's exactly what he is doing, as Andy Russell is making sure he's out of the way for these cars, and now he's going for the pit lane. Nearly got caught out on that one. So what is the gap then?
Caseley's off into the pits. That promotes Live Right to fifth. So the gap between Heselden and Beardy is 10.5 seconds.
Well, with 27 laps remaining, that's a gap that it's possible to bring that down. Caseley's on a little bit of a long stop here. It looks like it is for another set of wet tyres. I mean, one of the situations for the drivers could be that they've been running if they've been running a set of wet tyres from the start of the race and they've gone into a bit of a crossover phase now, they could have been burning up their tyres. But if it's too wet for the slicks, they kind of have no choice but to put on another set of wet tyres and hope they will survive the heat cycles that they're about to get put through.
Dave the Harp. Getting a bit leery, is that car?
Well, in these conditions, it's not going to be easy to drive them. Let's go and see what it is that you've spotted there. Dave Harp, 9th place. Is this for position? It is. It's a battle for position. Get him. Go on, quickly, place your bet. Who's got the better straight line speed?
Heselden without a shadow of a doubt. Just figured that arrow out.
I tell you what though, Dave the Harp and Jason both had a little bit of a mare there, and I think Dave's just collected the back of Caseley, I think that was. Yeah, it was. Hopefully neither of them have got damage. Was it Neotig?
Was it Neotig? Yeah, it was Neotig, yeah.
My bad. So that was Neotig then. I mean, I was asking about straight line speed between Dave the Harp and Jason, but Neotig had better than both of them. But ended up in an unfortunate collision. Let's see. Neotig 7th, Jason is a lap down, Andy Russell's in 8th. So actually it wasn't a battle for position, that, unfortunately. So that was a blue flag situation that Dave and Jason were in there then.
Some of the camera angles on this track.
Some of the camera angles are absolutely brilliant and some of them are absolutely shocking. But at least
they are.
At the moment, it isn't just showing me a patch of grass in the trees in the distance, which is what it does usually like to do.
Big off. Just rejoining the track now.
So he's gone off of the old hairpin then. I think when you go off of the old hairpin, there's not a lot to stop you other than a wall, and it's a long way from the track.
Neotig in 7th. Casely 6th, there's a big gap between them. Over a minute.
Livebry though, he's all over the back of Richie Davey. Is he all over? Yeah, he's close enough to say he's all over the back of him. 3rd, 4th and 5th, not a lot between them.
Not really many more battles going on at the minute.
I mean, the thing is,
Hulkenberg and Richie Davey.
Yeah. You've got James Hulkenberg in 3rd, Richie Davey in 4th, and then a similar gap behind them. That's Livebright. Oh, Richie having a big wiggle. Give Livebright a little bit of hope.
I'm going to go out on a bit of a whim here, and I'm going to say that Hesselden will be pitting within the next 2 to 3 laps.
Oh, sounds like a little bit of insider information, that one.
I've just got a really funny feeling. The gap has come down by over a second in half a lap.
So you reckon he's going to respond then to that, the gap reducing? He's not responding yet.
No. Could end up with egg on my face here.
I tell you what though, Beardy into the final corner. He's in the pit lane. He's going for the pit lane. That could be a brilliant call. You were saying that Hesselden will respond, but GBM Beardy, he's going to effectively get... Oh, we've got a car going off. Is that a blue flag situation? It is. Yeah, it's a blue flag car. It's not Hesselden going off. I think that might be Jason.
Beardy just exiting the pits now.
Livebry pitted as well, so he's Faceley, who was already pitted, is going to come out well ahead of him. I tell you what, let's see. Livebry's had a really, really long stop there. But Casely, looking at where he's positioned now, if Hulkenberg and Richie Davey pit, I think Casely will be ahead of them.
Touch and go.
Well, what I was going to say just before Beardy pitted was he approached the final corner and he was nowhere near the racing line. It was almost as if he was searching for the water, and Hesselden doing that a little bit as well. So Hesselden is into the pits, so let's go and find where GBM Beardy is then. I'll ride on board with him as he's making his way down to the hairpin. Yeah, I mean, there's no dry racing line at the moment, so it's definitely nowhere near time for slick tyres, but it does look like the drivers are searching for water, so it is possible that they have been overheating their tyres a little bit.
Richard Davis through.
GBM Beardy. Beardy's coming around the final corner now, up to the start-finish line, so where's Hesselden?
Third, he's out in.
Yeah, so he's already out. He's on his way down to the old hairpin. But I'm sure you'll be able to let us know fairly soon. Yeah, I was just saying, I'm sure you'll be able to tell us fairly soon whether that gap came down any more or not.
Yes, considerably.
Ooh, so Hesselden losing out a little bit through the round of pit stops then. Richie Davey, he's currently sat in second place, and he's I don't think he's quite catching James Hulkenberg, who's now leading this race. But Hulkenberg and Richie Davey are now on their, 12th lap on these tyres. They've got to be thinking about getting rid of them soon if other guys have already stopped.
Andy Russell into the pits.
So I think that may be his second stop. So hopefully he's not gone and got himself a bit more damage.
Just having a look at Beardy's sector times. Sector 1 was a 23.364 compared to Hulkenberg's last sector, which was 24.5.
So Beardy and Hesselden are much, much faster on the newer tyres right now then. And, I mean, Casely, he did pit some time ago, so if Beardy and Hesselden are gaining that much, then so is Casely. So I do think that when Hulkenberg and Richie Davey pit, that they are going to be behind him. But Casely may have an extra stop to do. Let's see. Gap between 7th and 8th quite big. Gap between 8th and 9th quite big. And I think the gap between 9th and 10th is not that big at all.
Between Hulkenberg and Richie Davey, you've got just over a second. Hesselden, another second back. And then to Beardy, you've got 5 seconds.
So, I mean, Beardy, it wasn't that long ago. I think it was about lap 27. He was saying that he's 11 seconds off, and Richie Davey, he's closed up on Hulkenberg. And if Hesselden, I mean, Hesselden's on the back of these two now. So that's the benefit of the new tyre, and simply how quick he was. Richie Davey's lost it. He's still going, but that's cost him a chance of attacking Hulkenberg, and now he's got Hesselden having a look up the inside of him.
Beardy's lost it. He's trying to get it back. It's just swaying everywhere. Is he going to lose that place? No, Casey's far back.
Oh, and Casely's just lost it. He's just lost it as well. I tell you what, I think the rain's beginning to fall a little bit heavier now, you know. I can just hear it hitting it's hitting the commentary box a lot harder. And it, as you just mentioned, it is looking like it's raining a little bit more. Hesselden's going slow.
The gap between them?
Yeah, Hesselden and Richie Davey were just going really, really slow. I think they both may have just had a power boost penalty. Hesselden's going really, really slow again.
Really?
Hesselden's got a problem.
Oh, this is... Oh, no.
I don't know.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of damage on the car.
No. It doesn't sound like he's out of fuel. I'm wondering whether perhaps he's just had a steering fault there.
No straight line speed at all.
Either that or he got a second power boost penalty. I mean, with the rain coming down, it is definitely coming down much, much harder now. I mean, the drivers would have been getting themselves into the groove of a slightly drier track, and he's now got Beardy all over the back of him, close enough to hit him. He's not going to want to hit him, though, or we could end up with 3 wide into the final corner. But yeah, it would be... Oh, Richie's going to lose 2 places. Oh, but Hesselden's going straight on. Beardy's going straight on. Yep. And Richie Davey, is he going... Richie Davey's going to get the places back. This is what I was just about to say, though. The guys have got into the groove of driving on a drying track, and all of a sudden it's got really wet again, and they can't control the cars as Richie Davey's sideways, and Beardy is trying to follow Hesselden through. So it's possible that Hesselden was going slow for 2 power boost penalties, because he's definitely back up to speed now. But this is all playing into the hands of James Hulkenberg.
Massively so. What's the gap? 11-second gap now to Hesselden.
Now that gap could definitely still come back down, because Hesselden is on fresher tyres, and Richie Davey I think has had another off. Yes, because there's Hesselden There's GB and Beardy, big sideways, manages to keep it on the track though, does he? Just. And Richie Davey, yeah, I mean, he's on much older tyres, that's not him, that's him. Richie Davey, his tyres may want changing fairly soon, his pants might as well with how much his car's wiggling about. And Caseley's not too far behind Richie, and Caseley has already made a stop earlier on. But Live Bry, he's all over the back of Caseley now.
And time out of him.
Yeah, he is. And let's see, Neo Tiggs in 7th place. He's a long way behind from 6th. And Jason's a long way behind him. Dave the Harp's in 9th. I tell you what, we've lost another driver. Hulkenberg's now into the pit lane. So he's going to give away the lead here. Hesselden retakes the lead of the race. Beardy second. Hulkenberg's on the move. Richie Davey is on his way up to the final corner. Oh, big flash of lightning. We said it was getting a little bit heavier with rain. I think it's going to get even worse. So Hulkenberg's coming out of the pits in 4th place, just ahead of Caseley. And I wouldn't be surprised if that big flash of lightning and the sound of thunder is bringing back bad memories of Sunday for you.
All over the back of Caseley here. All over him.
I like the way you avoided the question. But yeah, you're right. Talk us through these two then.
Oh, he's got a bit wide there as Liv Bry. He's gone now.
He's off, yeah, he's off.
Where's Bry? Oh yeah, he's definitely had an off there.
He has had a big off.
All that hard work.
Yep.
He's going to hate me for talking about it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when the conditions change like they have done here, I mean, it's not easy, is it? I mean, if you're on a wet track and it's getting drier, you're confident, oh, Hesselden's lost it, he's spun. He's not fully spun, he's kind of spun, and here comes Beardy on the attack. Yeah, you do get yourself into that groove of, okay, I've got a bit more grip this lap, I've got a bit more grip this lap, I've got a bit more grip this lap, and then all of a sudden for the drivers it was, you've got no grip at all.
Yeah. They seem to be struggling to adapt, obviously with how much more water has been put on the circuit. It's just one of them though, if the weather says so. James Hulkenberg's going very slow on the home straight. What's going on here? He's just slowed right down.
That almost sounds like a car that's got no fuel in it.
Oh! Now I don't feel so bad for last week.
If that's a fuel issue, he will be absolutely livid. No, he's going again. He's going again.
That's a strange one.
I'm wondering if that was just one absolutely enormous power boost penalty there. Maybe he... Oh, I wonder.
He didn't cut the last corner.
I'm wondering whether he went straight on at the chicane and ended up over at the last corner.
Well, it's in 5th. 11 seconds away from Live right now.
Well,
he's going to be mortified in that car.
He won't be mortified. He'll be absolutely fuming. He will be absolutely ranting in that car. I mean, if it's something a mistake you've made yourself, you'll be angry, but another big flash of lightning. Yeah, you'll be angry, but you'll perhaps know why it's happened. Yeah, but if it's something that was totally unexpected, yeah, he'll be really angry. Live Bry, he's now up to 3rd, and that's because Richie Davey is making his way into the pits, and another big crack of thunder. But this is Richie Davey's first pit stop. Hulkenberg is going to retake 4th place. I'm wondering whether he's going to be able to perhaps catch up Live Bry at all, but earlier on in the race...
9 seconds.
9 seconds, so he's gaining a bit, but I mean, earlier on in the race, Live Bry was able to close the gap into Hulkenberg. So if Live Bry can keep it on the track, he may be able to stay ahead. Oh, took a lot of curb there. Nearly got himself out of shape.
nothing else really going on. Dave the Harp having a woeful race at the minute, down and out, 8th place.
Well, I'm not sure if he was...
For a reigning champion.
Well, I mean, one of the interesting things with the Project Cars leagues is obviously from one season to the next, the cars change. So, I mean, it is quite possible that Dave the Harp just does not get on. Yeah, it's possible that Dave just doesn't get on with these cars. And you know what follows a big strike of lightning? A big crack of thunder. See, Jason, he's right behind Dave the Harp, but I'm back to the same point. Yeah, Dave the Harp and Jason are on the same lap, so they're kind of battling with each other. Duo Finn, he's sat in the pits, he's watching this one. Oh, I've just seen somebody wipe out a bit of a board. I think that might have been Live Bry. Yeah, it was Live Bry. I think he had a little bit of an off at Redgate. May have closed that gap in between himself and James Hulkenberg now, because if you're wiping out a sign, it means you're off the track.
Not really much else to report. Beardy struggling to close down the gap to Heselden.
Well, as the track got drier, he was definitely seemed to be the faster of the two of them, didn't he? But as it's got wetter, he's got slower.
Is there any more changes in this weather to come?
Well, as you've just said that,
it gets really interesting.
As you've just said that, the sun's just come out a little bit at the hairpin. I'm going to watch Live Bry and see if it looks like the sun is coming out a little bit at the hairpin.
Yeah, my prediction. I'm not doing bad so far.
No, not at all. You said Heselden would win it. He's on course for doing so. And you mentioned the weather. We'll see if... Oh, the sun came out. There's just been another big, huge flash of lightning there.
Definitely drying up at the back end of the circuit.
I tell you what, we have got as well, Casely. He's not far behind Hulkenberg.
Not at all. Width of a corner. 2.8 seconds.
So he's been closing that gap in. I think they both may have one more stop to make. I think Richie Davies is going to try and go to the end on a one-stop race here. I think Casely's definitely going to have to make another stop. Hulkenberg, depends. It sounds like the rain has just eased off a little bit, which would be nice. And just a little bit of information for the viewers. Some changes that have been made to Donington Park. If the camera changes, the hill that's on the opposite side of this track as Casely comes past, the viewing area at the old hairpin has been extended, and that big hill there, the two big hills, they've now been flattened, hopefully to make room for a camping area for when the superbikes are going around the Donington Park circuit. But they've actually done a pretty good job there, because what they've done, they've flattened quite a lot of the infield, so that if you are sat up at McLean's or Coppice, you can see past the hills. You can't quite see the start finish in the first corner, but you can see the exit of the first corner. And if you're at the old hairpin, you can now see across to the other side of the circuit, but you can't see the start finish because it is up a hill. But yeah, they are doing a lot of work around the Donington Park circuit to try and create a lot more visibility for when people come to spectate. And I tell you what, the sun is definitely coming out now.
Yeah, lap times are starting to fall.
Beardy's in the pits.
It's a brave move by Beardy.
Well, I'm just trying to see whether he's gone for a set of slick tyres. No, they do look like another set of wet tyres. So,
David coming down start finish. Nowhere near Beardy.
Nope.
He would have had to have been for a set of wets there for Beardy. If he'd come in and put on a set of slicks, then he's insane, but obviously managing to keep the car. But Beardy's very good at driving a car, so you probably wouldn't even realise, to be honest, if you put it on slick.
True, but Heselden, he's just lapped Dave the Harp again, so this will be pleasing Heselden. It will not be pleasing Dave the Harp at all. But yeah, we're getting to that stage now where it does look like parts of the track are definitely getting dry, but then as Heselden here goes around the final corner, I mean, it's definitely looking dry, but I'm just waiting for it to hit that point where it just kicks up a load of spray again. And it's been happening as they go around turn 1, Redgate. Let's see if it happens on this occasion. No, there's no big puff of spray.
Looks like he's having to search for water now.
Well, I'm wondering, I think, there's no spray coming off these tyres. I'm wondering if this would be a point to say, you know what, if I want to win this race, I'm going to chuck it into the pits and put a set of slicks on. I mean,
possibly, but Beardy will lose out massively.
He would.
Yes.
I mean,
unless he is on. That rain's falling a bit more heavy now at the first corner.
Well, riding on board with a few guys, we can see clear puddles, but most of the track does look damp but not wet. But, oh yeah, as you said, the rain is hitting the screen a little bit more, so maybe the sun's only come out for a brief period, which would mean that if anyone did go to gamble for a set of slick tyres, they would get caught out even more.
I'm just watching Beardy and he looks so stable. Which makes me think, is he on slicks?
It didn't look like slicks. No, those rear tyres have definitely got grooves in them. I'd say they're definitely a set of wet tyres. But let's see, who is he catching up? He's catching up Casely, who's in 3rd place. So, he's definitely quick at the moment. Yeah, I think that's Jason that's just moving out of the way in a blue flag situation.
Nice to see that.
I mean, the sun's coming out, but there's another big crack of thunder. So I don't think the weather has completely passed us yet, but it's definitely dry.
Missed out. Point. It's bone dry.
Yeah.
It's bone dry now when you're coming out to the final corner and just watching live by go over the start finish.
I mean,
no puddles.
It's bone dry around the first corner. I think we saw that in the PCS race on Sunday, it went dry and then went very wet very quickly. And perhaps the drivers here are thinking, I don't want to put slicks on because if it does rain again, I've got to pit again. But at the same time, I mean, if you put a set of slicks on and you're 10 seconds a lap faster, you've only got to do 3 laps. There's your pit stop back.
It's going to be a gamble now whether to, if they are out on full wets, come in, put them on. But
Hesselden, the race leader, he's not wasting no time. He's into the pits. So he's got to be going for a set of slick tyres. All of these guys have got to be going for a set of slick tyres, surely. You see, I think if they'd have gambled it a couple of laps ago, any of the drivers could have, they're definitely slicks. Any of the drivers could have gained a massive amount of time. Hulkenberg's carrying on.
Has he carried on?
He has. Casely's carried on. Hold on a moment.
It was Hulkenberg, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hulkenberg's carried on. Casely's in 3rd. He's got GBM Beardy right behind him. All 3 of those are on wet tyres on a bone dry track. Richie Davies carried on. Live Bright, he's come out of the pits on a set of slick Neo Tig. He's on slick tyres. Dave the Harp, he's on slick tyres. Jason, he's on slick tyres. Duo Finn's saving his tyres.
It's got interesting.
It's just got very interesting. Now, Live Bright, he is catching Richie Davey at a rapid rate of knots. But visually, I'm getting a few dodgy movements on those cars. GBM Beardy, he's all over the back of Casely.
Oh, look at the grip that Live Bright's got there. It's so much more.
He has, but Richie Davies got fairly decent straight line speed. So Live Bright's still behind him. Let's see. GBM Beardy, he's now up to 3rd place, still running the wet tyres on a bone dry track. Hulkenberg, very wide at the final corner, and he's going on for another lap. GBM Beardy going on for another lap. K-Slade going on for another lap. What's Richie Davey going to do? I mean, I suppose with these old style tyres, perhaps you can run them so long they turn into slicks.
There he goes. Is he gonna? Where is Richie Davey getting the straight line speed from?
Where's he getting the grip in the corners? Because he's still side by side. Oh, they've collided. Well, thankfully for Richie Davey, he survived that, but Live Bry hasn't. So obviously, you're better off on the wets in the dry than you are on the dries in the dry. Unfortunate for Live Bry in the dry, but now he's got Neotig. Neotig's had no one to race for a while, but now he's all over the back of Live Bry, and Neotig's on slick tyres and throws it straight up the inside. That was close. It's still close. And Live Bry just manages to survive. I tell you what, that was a brave but also a good move there from Neotig. It didn't work. Oh. Have a look on your screen. Have a look on your screen, Gavin.
What? Tell me.
You'll see it.
I'm trying to see it. I've not seen it.
I'm seeing it. Little drops of water. Hulkenberg, don't pit now. Oh, Hulkenberg's just come into the pits, but the rain is falling once again. K-Slade's come into the pits. Beardy retakes second place, and Hulkenberg's gone to the slick tyres. Richie Davey, who stayed on the wets. Oh, you know what? If it had just
Live Bry stayed out.
Yeah.
Big.
The thing is, we've got Hesselden leading the race on slick tyres. He may have to stop again. We've got GBM Beardy on wet tyres. He might not have to stop again. Richie Davey on wet tyres. James Hulkenberg now on slicks. Live Bry on slicks. K-Slay on slicks. Neotig on slicks. Oh dear.
Devastated.
Well, this could cost Hesselden the win here. I mean, every driver is on slick tyres except for Richie Davey and GBM Beardy.
The gap, 13 seconds from Beardy to Hesselden.
Now, if it does get wet enough for Hesselden to have to pit for the wet tyre, his only advantage might be that, well, two advantages. One is he's quick, and two, he'll have brand new wets on a wet track. Whereas GBM Beardy's wet tyres, they will have been getting burnt up so much in this on this dry track.
They do still grip though, believably or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when you think about it, with these old school cars, the wet tyres will still have a decent amount of grip in the dry, because they did obviously used to at times just race on what would have effectively been a road tyre.
Richie Davey running third at the minute, coming up to Dave the half.
Well, what'll be interesting here is, I mean, Richie might be quicker in this race anyway, but Richie's on the wet tyre and Dave's on slick, so Richie's so much faster. Oh, he's so much faster, he's just giving him a nudge, and Dave's off into the gravel. I hope Dave needs the bathroom, because there is a toilets over there. We'll give that as the reason for him ending up off track there. I think you might be sending Richie a little message after that one. Well, we're about to have 7 laps remaining, and Hesselden just nearly spun it out the final corner.
The rain seems to be middle sector mostly, but you can see the rain at the first corner. He's going to have to be so tentative. 7 laps on slick, that's a big ask. A big ask.
Well, maybe this is why drivers were trying to go that little bit longer on those wet tyres. If the slick tyres would wear out too quick to do, say, 12, 13, 14, 15 laps. But now, for some of the drivers, they could be in a situation where I was going to say 2 or 3 laps time, but I think it might be 1 lap's time, where the slick tyres just are not going to work in the wet.
Believe it or not, there's not Beatty is not pulling time out of Heselden at all. Maybe a tenth here and there, but I would be expecting him to catch him hand over fist now, especially being on wets. But
yeah.
How long has he been on the set of wets?
Well, he's been on them for quite some time. I'm trying to think. I'm sure he pitted, it would have been maybe 3 or 4 laps before the weather began to clear up. Let's see, Heselden. Oh, it's definitely got wetter in the final corner.
He's still staying out.
Well, maybe he's thinking about weighing up the gamble here. I mean, it's one of those, if he can stay out and survive, if the gap is big enough, he may be alright, and hope that the car behind has burnt up their tyres. I mean, let's see. I mean, how far back is GBM Beardy? What's the gap?
13.5 seconds.
Okay, and the gap to Richie Davey, it's got to be much, much bigger than that. It's probably got to be 30 plus seconds.
I'm just looking at Hulkenberg, who's catching Richie Davey in third. The gap is currently 7 seconds. No, sorry. No, that's
it's less.
Hulkenberg.
Oh, Hulkenberg's just had a wiggle.
2.7.
Yeah. Oh, it's got really wet though down at the old hairpin. Really, really wet.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you what, I'm surprised that the guys on slick... Okay, maybe with it getting a little bit wetter, it's getting trickier, but I'm surprised that already the guys on the slick tyres haven't just spun out in these conditions.
They must have next to no grip, especially in the hairpins and in the first corner. They're amazing me, to be quite honest. Oh, Heselden very nearly losing it on the exit of the last corner there.
So that's twice in 3 laps that Heselden's nearly lost it there. But I tell you what, looking at Hulkenberg, I was about to curse him then. Through the chicane, he looked as aggressive through there as he has been all the way throughout this race. Now, I will admit, I am playing a little bit devil's advocate here. I do have insider information. So I'm going to keep acting surprised. But I do think if this gets much wetter, the guys are going to have no choice but to put wet tyres on. I think somebody has pitted. It wasn't one of the leaders. Let's see who's coming out. Dave the Harp. So he's got rid of his slick tyres, putting the wets on. And Jason is on slick tyres and is ahead of Dave the Harp on the track. And I think Jason might be thinking about stopping.
He's pulling that gap out now. He's pulling it down.
Okay, Neotig.
1.9 seconds now to Richie Davey.
Oh, so that gap is getting closer then. Neotig has pitted. Looks like he's getting rid of his set of slick tyres. Hulkenberg going to try continuing on.
Into the wall. Into the pit wall. Straight into the pit wall, live ride.
Was that losing it out of the final corner? Oh, his car's lagging all over the place as well. Oh, I think he may have damage. He's on wet tyres as well.
Neotig right behind him now in 7th.
So Neotig is...
So much spray now.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I think the wet tyres would be the right call here, but I'm trying to think. I think Lifebride was staying out on the wet tyres earlier. I can't remember. No, Lifebride was one that did go slicks. But yeah, Neotig now right behind him, and we've got huge amounts of spray again as we've got 4 laps remaining. Here's Neotig sideways. Beautifully done. It looks good. It might not be quick, but in these conditions it could actually be quick. Oh, he's gone a little too deep there, and now he's off on the inside, and now he's spun. He's going to have to hope there isn't a car coming. It sounds like there is, though. Let's see if he can get going.
This might be the lap where Hulkenberg manages to get past Richie Davey. Oh, Richie Davey's gone wide. Hulkenberg through.
So Hulkenberg still running a set of slick tyres, folks. Has just gone past Richie Davey, who's going to be on very warm, wet tyres, but still, they are wet tyres. K-Slay's not that far behind, and I tell you what, he's still on slicks as well.
Live rise. Bad luck to things on slicks. Looks like he's going to be staying on them with 4 laps remaining.
No, Livebry's on the wets. Livebry is on wets. Those tyres have got grooves on, or at least it looks like they've got grooves on to me. It could be. He's opened up a gap now to Neotig. Neotig had his spin and then had to wait. Oh, Caseley, I think he's just had a moment because he was going very, very slow. Hulkenberg has opened up quite a gap now on Richie Davey. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to GBM Beardy at all. He's running in second place.
Beardy must have absolutely destroyed that set of tyres because he's just not gaining any time whatsoever.
Yeah, well, let's not forget that Hesselden is also still running the slick tyre. I mean, do you think that it was perhaps playing into the minds of people like Hesselden? Okay, it's time for the dry tyre. If it goes wet again, I'll be okay, because anyone that stays on the wets is going to have destroyed them. I mean, what's worse? Dry tyres on a wet track or wet tyres on a dry track?
Wet tyres on a dry track for me.
I'd probably, well, I would agree with you with what Hesselden, Hulkenberg and Caseley are doing here. I mean, Hesselden's got 2 corners to go to make it 2 laps remaining.
Very tentative around there, though.
Well, all he needs to do is sort of manage that gap. That's GBM Beardy is definitely on the wet tyres. Hulkenberg, yeah, he's definitely not going to be able to catch GBM Beardy. But Caseley's now up to 4th. Where's Richie Davey gone? Richie Davey's in 5th. He's had a spin. He's having another one.
Oh, yep.
I think his tyres are knackered. I think they're done.
There's Livebry in comparison to that.
He's coming round the old hairpin. It could get close between them if Richie's struggling.
Get very close between 5 seconds.
It sounds like Richie's going. So I think it sounds like Richie's going very, very slow. Oh, he's got a car ahead of him. Is that? I think that might be Andy Russell. No, it's Livebry. So Livebry's already got ahead of him.
Come out of nowhere there.
Yeah, so Richie Davey really, really struggling. His tyres must be absolutely exhausted. I mean, he's been on them a long time anyway, and that's probably what's done it. He's been on them a long time. He's ran them on a dry track, and now they've got no grooves left. But he'll be annoyed because guys that are on slicks are faster.
Very, very. I can't believe it. I'm stunned.
Well, I would say I'm stunned, but like I said, I did have a little bit of insider information, and it is possible to run the slick tyre on a wet track. And as we just mentioned, I think a dry tyre on a wet track is better than a wet tyre on a dry track. But for these guys, it's going to make for a very interesting podium interview. Hesselden has got 1 lap remaining. Let's see, Hesselden started lap 35. GBM Beardy, Hulkenberg, Caseley, Livebry, they're all... I wonder if he's going to put a set of slicks on. No, he hasn't. He's gone for another set of wets. But he's gone from 3rd place down to 6th place in, what, 5-6 laps?
Yeah, about that, I'd say. I'm just looking on the track to see if there's any more battles going on. There's nothing really developing, to be honest. They were on the final lap, I don't think anything's going to matter anyway now.
No, I don't think there'll be much changing now, not unless Richie Davey is super fast on his final set of wet tyres. So for Hesselden then, he hasn't got many corners to go. Let's see, 4, now make that 3, and now 2 corners to go before he takes a fantastic win here. I mean, for any of the viewers, if you do have any questions that you would like us to ask the podium sitters, but if you're thinking of asking why did you run dry tyres on a wet track, don't worry, I think we'll have that one covered. But yeah, if you've got any questions, comment them now, and we will ask them to the drivers. But Hesselden is going to take victory here at the Donington Park GP circuit. A fantastic result for him, a fantastic drive by him. Now, he was your pick. Oh, I'll tell you what, Oh no, I thought we had Hulkenberg and Beardy battling it out then, but it's not. GBM Beardy coming around the final corner now. Oh, Richie David nearly lost it though. So GBM Beardy takes second place. I think he'll be a little bit gutted. He had half a chance of winning that one. It didn't go that way in the end. Richie Davey, I think, did finish 6th. Hulkenberg, the next driver on slick tyres on a wet track, and slick tyres off a wet track as well. But it will be 3rd place for him. What a result. A great... I mean, he'll be gutted he's dropped points on Hesselden there, but he'll be very, very pleased with a podium. Kay Slate, he's going to cross the line to take 4th place. And I tell you what, Gavin, if you've got any questions that you want to ask the podium sitters, get thinking of them now. At least I'll give you a bit of warning before I just say, go on and ask your questions. You have a few, that's good. Let's see, I think Live Bright, he's next to cross the line for 5th place. It'll be... he's had a very interesting race and he's spun it into the barrier. I suppose if you're going to crash it just before the finish line, as long as you don't lose a place. Yeah, he's still got a bit of... the finish line hasn't come yet. You've got a bit further to go. Keep going. There you go. That's 5th place for him. It'd have been funny if it'd have gone back to the pits at that point. Richie Davey, it'll be 6th place for him. I think he'll
be a little bit gutted with that.
I don't think he'll just be gutted. I think he's going to be confused.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean he's going quite slow at the moment, but I mean, yeah, he's going to want to know how the hell guys on wet and slick tyres have gone faster than him on a wet track when he's on wet tyres. Could be a few reasons for it, but Richie Davey is going to cross the line to take 6th place. Disappointed yet, but still a great drive from him. So 6th place it is for him, and he's just jumped to the return to the pits a little too soon. We'll see Jason, he's crossing the line, but he was a couple of laps down. I think Neo Ticket was in at 6th place, and annoyingly Richie's jumped away from the track, so when I look at the result here it's not quite correct, but anyway. So that means we've got Neotic and Jason to make their way back to the pit lane. But in the pits, we can already see their cars there. James Hulkenberg, 3rd place. GBM Beardy in 2nd place. And Hesselden in 1st. And Kay Slate pulling in ahead of him. So I'm just going to pop onto the blue screen and I'll invite those guys in for the podium interview. So yeah, if you do have any questions... pop them on the YouTube channel now. And I shall... check them out in a few moments time. So Hesselden, James Hulkenberg and GBM Beardy, I'll just quickly find those guys, send them invites to the commentary box. We'll get them in from the miserable wet weather that's out there at the moment. But I mean, Gavin, what do you make of that race? I mean, it's your first time on commentary, but what do you make of the race?
Well, had its interesting bits, didn't it?
Oh yes.
They were. I want to ask Hesselden what the whole slowly bit was all about.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
I'm very intrigued to find out what that was. It was eventful.
It definitely was. Okay, all three drivers. So all 3 drivers have now joined us in the commentary box, and Hesselden has just left. I think he may have just got disconnected. Because it's saying on my screen that Beardy's in 1st place and Hulkenberg's in 2nd, but we'll hang on a few moments before we get on to the podium questions. Just realised that's not the YouTube chat I want to get onto. So James and GBM Beardy, if you guys would like to just give yourselves a moment, take a breather, and give yourself a chance to get a drink or what have you, and we'll come to you in a few moments time. Now I can imagine for the viewers it was a very interesting sort of second half of the race there.
Are we waiting on Hesselden?
We are going to hang on a few moments for Hesselden. You can just have a look, see if he's gone online or not. I'm just seeing Joyfin was saying that was a short race for him. Oh, unlucky for Duofin. He got a better start than the car ahead. He went right to pass him, and next thing he saw, he was flying upside down in the air, and he couldn't reset to track. Unfortunate for him, because he hasn't got a reset to track button, so disaster for Duofin on that one. Definitely a very, very short race for him.
Heselden's online.
Okay, now when their cars do end up on their roof, if you have got a reset to track button, you can use it, but if it doesn't allow you to reset to track and you have got a button assigned, it means your car's dead, unfortunately. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look here, see if we have any questions, but while we wait for Heselden, we'll move on to GB and Beardy. So Gavin, ask away.
Beardy, well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Should be happy with that. Weather, how did it go for you, mate?
Well, I came out in qualifying, had probably about 2 laps on the wet tyre and decided, no, that's not working. So I went on to the dries and seemed to get a lot more grip. So,
yeah, we noticed with another driver towards the end of the race, to be honest.
And I just gained so much time. I mean, I was like 7 seconds quicker.
I think it was in the last 7 or 8 laps. You were obviously on the wet tyre, and Heselden was on the slicks, but you weren't pulling any time out. Why is that?
Because I was on the dry tyre again. I did the whole race on the dry tyre.
Oh, well,
really?
That's not what it was showing us then, because it was showing us that you were on the wet tyre.
Yeah, I mean, I had to come in 2 laps early because I came out the Melbourne hairpin and I couldn't get past Andy Russell. It was just impossible to overtake while to lap, and ended up spinning the car.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, interested in that. I mean, I did have a little bit of insider information that some people might try running wet tyres on a dry tyres on a wet track, but for us in the commentary box, there were times throughout that race where drivers were on wet tyres on the wet track, and then there were drivers on dry tyres on a wet track. So a lot of our commentary then will be incorrect if you were on the wet tyre, the dry tyre throughout the whole of the race. If that was the case then, I mean, you said that you were much quicker on the dry tyre in the wet. Why do you think that was?
Absolutely no idea. I mean, I accidentally in the practice before I came into the session, I thought, you know what, I'm going to bang a set of dry tyres on it and see what it was like, you know, like changing over from dry to wet. And noticed that the tyres was just so much more grip. It was just weird. I don't know if it's a glitch in the game or whatever.
Well, it worked for you, and Heselden has joined us back for the podium interviews, so we might come back to you in a few moments, Beardy. Heselden, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you just get disconnected after the race?
I tried plugging on mic and then turn my PlayStation off, so...
Oh, well done. Well done. Why, Hulkenberg, we sat there now going, why couldn't you have done that half an hour ago?
It was a good timing for a disconnection, though. It would have been a good timing for a disconnection.
It would have been. Okay, Heselden, pole position, with a nice healthy gap again. Perhaps surprised a few people, perhaps expected from a lot of viewers and a lot of the drivers, but the start of the race, it didn't quite go your way. But first of all, I mean, GBM Beardy was just telling us he was running dry tyres on a wet track all the way through, even though to us they look like wets. So what about yourself? Were you on dry tyres all the way through?
Yeah, the special slick/wet tyres I had on, yeah.
Fair.
Good fun.
Fair enough. Okay, start of the race didn't quite go to plan for you. Casely Jumpcher was leading the race. So what was it like for that first stint until he pitted?
Yeah, I think at a moment I got him passed on track. He come off, I think, early on. But yeah, it was hard work with a spray. You couldn't see nothing, couldn't see no braking points and that. So luckily I didn't have to follow too many people. Except for Richie Davey that I crashed into, but I apologise to him already.
Well, he crashed into a few people as well, so we'll see if he continues on the apologies. Excuse me. Okay, Gavin, any questions for Heselden?
Yes, I have. Qualifying, you were absolutely... that was a blistering lap time you put into step pole for that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Go on.
No, go on.
How did you find it in qualifying? Because obviously you were nowhere near the 25 in any of your previous laps, except from that one.
Yeah, I got another apology as well. I've already said to Neotig, sorry about it. I think it was the second to last corner, but he said he didn't remember or didn't know anything about it, so it might have been lag or something. I was a second up in the second sector, and I come up behind him and I like dive bombed him and sort of like got past him, but I had to do it. I was a second up, and then yeah, I got the pole. So, but I thought he saw me coming, so I thought he moved over, but then he turned in on me. So, but luckily I got through the corner and got the pole. So,
well, he didn't see you coming, but he definitely saw you going.
Yeah.
I do have one more. Midway through the race, you started going really, really slow for a long amount of time. Why was that?
Might be when I was letting Richie Davey back through, because I'm sort of going bang and then...
It seemed to be for the whole start, finish straight, and as you were coming up to the last corner as well.
I don't know. I was struggling through the third sector, out that last corner. Struggling to get round. I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember that.
Any power boost penalties?
No bad power boost penalties today, luckily.
Oh, interesting.
It's a strange one.
A very strange one.
Yeah.
Maybe our commentary box just had too much water on its windows, and it made it look like you were going slower than you were. Okay. A fantastic victory. That should put you back on top of the standings. Dave the Harp's not going to thank me for my next question. How much of a smile did you have when you lapped him 3 times?
Is it 3? I only saw him once, that was fun. So,
okay, might have been twice.
Lapped him and didn't even see him.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave, but quick.
Yeah. I can all I can think of is the penguins from Madagascar. Just smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. Okay, we'll come back to you in a few moments' time. Now, viewers, if you do have any questions, get them in now. I am on the YouTube channel, so get them in now if you've got any questions. We're going to move over to James Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, a very interesting one there. I'm guessing you also ran dry tyres on a wet track. It looked like you were running wet tyres on a wet track and then dry tyres on a wet track at the end.
Well, ultimate depression, man. Went for quali and I thought, right, I'm not going to put in a quick lap on me slick tyres just to sort of fool a few people. I went round and set a decent lap and I thought, oh, that's alright, that's not too bad. And I thought, you know what, Esselden's probably going to cotton on to what I'm doing. He's probably going to snatch it from me. I'm going to have to go out again, try and knock a second off it. Come round final corner on my quali lap. And then my second up and I thought, right, sweet, we're all okay now. Get on power and it literally just completely twitched on me and I was like aiming towards the wall. I thought, oh no, and that was quali over and I'd gone from P1 down to P3.
And again, we caught it on camera.
Yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to park up at the side and just start crying. But, you know, I was thinking, you know what, I'll just think about the race, play it long game. And I've got to say, Beardy had some serious pace. He came up behind me and just waltzed all the way around the outside of me at turn 1, so I've got to say, top man, it was nice to go wheel to wheel with somebody that don't crash you off. And, ultimate depression at one moment. I come round the final corner. I think I'd gone long on my first stint. Everybody else had pitted. I think Heselden was about 10 seconds behind me. Or maybe I can't exactly remember. It was about halfway through the race. Come round. I think I'd just pitted for me second set of tyres. Come round the final corner and I had that much grip. compared to earlier. I turned in and it turned in too much, so I tried to turn out of it, and I went over the last curve, and I thought, oh, here comes a 5-second penalty. Nothing happens. I'm like, oh, that was a bit weird. Roll over the start-finish straight. I get over the start-finish line, and it says corner cutting, 35-second penalty.
Well, I was going to say, we did see you going really slow. It was similar to what Hesselden did.
Couldn't believe it. 35 seconds. So I was literally just rolling for 35 seconds, and that were the win out the window. So I'm really happy to get on podium, to be fair.
Well, I mean, we did see that. We did one when we thought you may have ran out of fuel. I mean, you even pulled into the pit lane exit. You were going that slow. But obviously now we know what it was. But, I mean, you were in what? I think you were in like sort of 4th, 5th place. You were having a bit of a... Casely was catching you. Richie Davey ahead was doing okay. And then all of a sudden, that gap between you and Richie just came down. I mean, did you see him having any problems?
Yeah, I could tell per sector. In the corners, I was gaining on him about 3 seconds, and then on the straight, not 3 seconds, 3/10, and then on the straights, he was pulling like a 1/10.5 out. But every single lap I was coming round, but as soon as I got in the dirty air in turn 1, it was literally like no grip at all. So I just had to pick my moment, came down the hill, and it was literally like the Days of Thunder moment. It was spray galore, couldn't see a thing, came through the spray, and I was in front of him, so I was quite happy. I think he was sideways going down the hill.
Well, obviously, as soon as you got into 3rd place, you were practising what you were going to be saying on the podium. So, Gavin, have you got any questions for James?
After the first 6 or 7 laps of light rain at the start of the race, it started to dry up. But then almost instantly, as soon as that happened, it started to get wet again. And by God, did it get wet, and it got wet fast. How did you manage with that?
Well, I'm going to ask you, how did you manage with crackle of thunder in that commentary box?
Well, we didn't. We got no glass on. Put that way.
He was all right. My arm's purple. He was grabbing hold of me. It's thundering.
Yeah, no, I knew I had to try and go along to try and beat Hesselden, because he was like a man on fire. He were off. There was no what I could do. So I just thought, you know what, I've got to try and play the strategy game. One stop it. And yeah, it didn't quite work when I got a 35-second penalty. I thought, right, stop it.
They didn't. Okay, I've got one question from the viewers. Did you guys smile and wave, smile and wave?
I felt a bit sorry for Dave, to be fair. Yeah.
It definitely didn't go Dave's way today, did it? I mean, I'm wondering whether... I mean, I mentioned this to Gavin in the commentary. Sometimes when you make a change of cars, it'll suit some drivers and not others. And I'm just wondering if that's perhaps what's happened with Dave here, that he's just not getting on with these cars.
To be fair, I know that he won't want me to say this, but his neighbour's playing really loud music, booming every day, and it's doing his head in, so that might have something to contribute with this season.
All right. Well, maybe they're doing it because Dave keeps blaring out the sound of old F1 cars.
I haven't paid him off. I haven't paid his neighbours off.
Okay.
Don't believe you for a second.
Now, usually we'd ask questions, or we'd get the viewers to ask questions. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to give you drivers the opportunity to ask each other questions. So if either of you have got questions for each other or for us, fire away.
Ethel, how the frick did you do that, man?
I don't know. I don't know. Last week was terrible, so I just had to bring it back today. So put everything into it, everything into the quali lap and that. I was standing on the track with no grip out there, like in the rain. So just trying to keep the car on the track, not cutting any corners, getting 35-second penalties.
Had to get that in there.
No, I mean, on the outside of turn 1, I was thinking you were on wet tyres, because on the grid, I could see, I think, a couple of people were on slicks. I think I could see that Esselden were on slicks. But when you came alongside me, Beardy, I thought you were on wet, so I thought, you know what, to be fair, I thought you might have just had more grip at that moment, because it was really wet down at turn 1 at that moment.
I came round and I thought, I'm catching, and then I just thought, I got a good run out of the last corner. I thought, you know what, sod it, I'm going to try it around the outside. It's probably not going to work. And then all of a sudden I just seemed to get this massive grip. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's so when you get off the racing line on a wet circuit, it's like you got like super grip, but I was going defensive, and then after the start, I know what these cars can do when you go wheel to wheel. We're not going wheel to wheel down that hill. We'd have gone bloody airborne downhill.
A few tried it and it didn't work. Here's a question for you: any problems with the back markers?
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
I was trying to catch Aston. Aston was about 1.5, 1.6 seconds in front. And I got to the Melbourne Loop and I thought I can see a back marker, and I just tried to outpower it at the hairpin and lost the back end, and my heart just sank. I was just like, no. Well, you know what? That's not a problem with a back marker. That's a problem with a heavy right foot. True. Okay. I have got a question.
Go on then.
The commentary booth. Have you got which is from the Buddies for Life?
Do you know what I'm going to say?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. I'd get told off if I started singing that song. Duck you thunder. For anyone that asked, I did say duck. I said duck. Okay. Right. Okay. I think it's just about time to bring this broadcast to an end. But we'll just give a quick shout out to all of the viewers. Drew, thank you for watching once again. Thank you to everybody else that has been viewing, commenting, and thank you to GT Gavin 2 for joining me in the commentary booth. You've been very, very good for your first attempt. Unlucky to Duo Finn. Talk about short races, getting from the starting position to not even turn one, so massively unfortunate for him, but it did once again go to show that Duo Finn is an absolute superstar at saving tyres. Okay, next up on the Front Row Racers YouTube, Talkerberg giggling to himself. Sorry, Duo Finn.
You bloody tight git. He's going to be sat there fucking crying to you.
It's not the first time we mentioned it. I'm sorry, you've got to have... I was talking to a police officer one day and I asked him, how do you get through some of the most terrible things you have to deal with? And he said, you know what, I had an experience once, and this lady, she pretty much beat the crap out of me because I was laughing at a really terrible situation. Somebody had died and I was laughing, and this lady beat me up. Now, I'm a police officer and I could have arrested her for assaulting a police officer, but I didn't. Instead I explained myself. And what he said to this old lady was, he said, look, I'm sorry if you were offended that I've laughed at this situation, but I deal with this 4 or 5 times a day for 365 days a year. If I don't have a laugh and a joke, I'm not going to get through one day, let alone 365. So I apologise if I offend you.
Cheer up, love.
Yeah, turn that frown upside down.
Go make me a cup of tea.
Yeah, but yeah, so don't take offence. We're just having a laugh. Okay, we're all going to bring this to an end. Stop making me laugh.
That's brilliant.
I don't know. I would ask what you guys have been smoking, but I think we all know. Okay, next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be on Sunday night, 8:30 p.m, as long as we get going on time. 8:30 p.m. for the PCS. These guys have put me off so much, I can't even remember where that is at. Okay, let me have a quick look. And I believe the weather for Spa is meant to be quite nice, which the drivers will be pleased about, and that'll serve you right for moaning at me when there was a chance of rain and it didn't rain. Okay, so that'll be on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. For the Aussie V8s, and then after that it'll be on Wednesday 7:30 p.m. for the F1 Formula Racing World Championship. Round 18 at Brazil. So well done to all of the drivers that took part today. Thank you again to Gavin, thank you to the viewers. This has been the Front Row Racing PCF. Thank you much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. And guys, before you start laughing and joking again, give me about 30 seconds before I turn off the broadcast. See you all again soon.
Everyone's chomping a bit to laugh now, aren't they?